Welcome to RetroLogic. I'm Dan Caporello, here with Sam Wagers and Shannon Eno, and we are Johnless tonight, unfortunately. John is doing electrical work in his garage, I hear, so sounds dangerous. Hopefully he survives. I'm sure he's a thrifty, he's a handsy, what's the word? Handy. He's a handy guy. He might be handsy too. I've never met him in real life, but I guess we'll find out. Oh, I have met him. He came to CGF last year. And I don't remember how handsy he was. I'm sure
handier now.
I'm sure he'll love this intro. He's just gonna love this intro. Oh my gosh. Anywho, RetroLogic isn't just a podcast. It's a community of retro gamers. We've got an active, friendly, and free Discord community which has giveaways and contests. And you can dive into our family of retro podcasts like RetroGroove, a music history podcast, and On Topic Retro, a podcast dedicated to one video game per episode, hosted by our very own and absent John Cummins. You can find everything at our website, retrologic.games, including our merch store, which is working.
Yes, we double-checked that.
We did. we double-checked. And Shannon sacrificed $3 of his hard-earned cash, so we appreciate that, Shannon. I'll send you a sticker. Okay. Guys, tell me one thing that happened this week. Gaming related, not gaming related? What's going on?
Whatever time I've had, I've been putting into Super Mario Thousand Year Door.
Yes.
Replaying that on the Switch, and just got the third star today. Mm-hmm. So moving through that way, and it's been a long time since playing it on the GameCube. I still own it on the GameCube, but I am really enjoying replaying it, and having it on the Switch is quite nice and convenient as well. Looks
Third
great.
one's Glitzville, right?
Yes. Yep.
Yeah.
So just finished Glitzville.
That's where the game really hits its stride. I think.
Big time.
Yeah, that's a really fun chapter, for sure. Yep.
Awesome. That's what I've been playing too. I've been working my way through it. I'm finally on the last chapter now. After chapter 6, I think it's chapter 6, the one on the train, is my least favorite chapter because it's just walking around a train solving a mystery, and I have no vested interest in what's going on the train. Like, I just want to be done with it. But I finished it, and so now we're finally on to the last chapter. But yeah, I think Glitzville, and I think the Peonies. I have a soft spot for the Peonies. They're amazing. They're great. Very Pikmin-like, so probably why I love them. But yeah, just like you, like the last time I played it was on the GameCube 20 years ago, and I didn't remember anything, dude. Like, it was like a fresh play. It was like playing it for the first time. Like, I didn't remember a single thing. None of the puzzles were coming back to me. I was just like, this is great. I have no idea what's going on. It's awesome. And the writing is as solid as it ever was. Yeah, absolutely love it. Love the combat system in that game. Who's your favorite? You're only on chapter 3, so you only have.
I'm only on chapter 3, but if you're are you asking about companion?
Yeah.
I have a soft spot for Goombella.
Yeah,
I do like Goombella. Anytime where I don't need one of the other companions to be solving a puzzle or whatever, I have her following me around.
Yeah. I found great. I think my favorite, as far as like personality wise, has to be Yoshi Kid. He's like sassy and he just like wants to fight everybody, but he's like a newly hatched Yoshi, so I find that dichotomy really funny. But yeah, Goombella is definitely a soft spot for Goombella as well. In battle, I found myself
like Scrappy Doo if he wasn't horrible.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. I find myself in battle using the bomb pirate guy a lot now, late game. He's got some really good stuff going on.
Yeah, it's true.
Yeah.
Admiral.
That's the one.
Bobbery.
Yeah.
Bobbery.
Yeah.
Yes.
Really don't. I'm playing it fresh. I don't remember the names. So that was I tell you. Sam, what's going on with you?
Well, I've been playing DK King of Swing of all things.
Yes, dude.
So Yeah, did you know you can unlock bubbles from Clue Clue Land for multiplayer in that game?
I did not know that. That's very bizarre.
You do. You have to collect all the medals, which unlocks Diddy mode, and that lets you play the single player as Diddy Kong. And then if you get all the medals as Diddy Kong, you unlock bubbles
Did you do it?
for multiplayer.
That's amazing.
Yes.
Amazing. Yeah, that's a game that like I like in theory, but always had a really hard time with. I think I have Jungle Climber. I think I may have sold you my copy of King of Swing. Now that
Yeah, I'm pretty sure that's where I got it from. I got it from you.
When I needed to
I want to pick up Jungle Climber now because King of Swing is very. I like it, but it is very like feels kind of thin, I guess, on content. Feels a little bit too easy as well. Diddy mode does help with that because it removes most of the bananas from the game. The whole banana health system is kind of lame, in my opinion. Because it's like you collect bananas, and at any time you can recover health by eating 5 bananas. So like you wind up with just a bunch of them, like from the early levels,
a bunch of bananas,
and then you're just like, oh, if I get hit, I just eat bananas. Like it's just kind of weird.
Yeah, I don't know.
That like you wind up with this stockpile.
I had more fun with Jungle Climber. I think they refined a lot of things.
That's what I hear. So I kind of want to get Jungle Climber now.
I got to pick up DK King Swing again now that I have money from my job. That's what jobs are for. Anywho, just a little bit of housekeeping in the RetroLogic, the Retroverse, if you will. Sam, anything going on with the blog and or your streaming?
Streaming still continuing apace with Battle Network 4.5. I was having quite the time of it tonight. That game really likes to send you back through the same areas. Like it's pretty bad. It gets really bad towards the end. I'm at the point where I've just about unlocked all the areas of the game. And there's all these like spots that are gated where your path's blocked, and there's a one of the playable navies actually will block your path and will be like, if you want to go past me, you have to complete this mini game. And it's like, okay, you do the mini game. Some of them are fun, some of them are annoying. You do the mini game and then they disappear forever, and you can walk through there. The ones in the later areas for some reason are like, hey, you want to go past me? You're going to have to complete a mini game. Go back to area 1 and do it. And it's just like, why? Why do I have to walk back to area 1?
No.
They're just padding out the game, and it's
like
it's the kind of thing I just don't have the patience for at this point.
Like not in a fun way, like a Metroid game where it's like, oh cool, let me traverse.
The thing is, like this game, like there's not a lot to like the explorable areas, and I think it's actually kind of cool that what they did with this is there's all this stuff with the real-time clock, where like different enemies show up on different days of the week, different NPCs show up on different days of the week, and that gives you like a fun kind of like reuse of the areas. But this is just the opposite of that. This is just like, yeah, we knew we didn't make enough game, so we're just gonna pad it out.
Oh my gosh. Add a couple hours there. What's your streaming schedule? Are you on a schedule?
Yeah, it's 7:30 Eastern time to about 9:30 Eastern time Monday nights.
Okay, right on. And then you jump onto the podcast. So thanks for that's being your like your RetroLogic night. And John is running the Retro Rewind right now. He's got a Mario Land 2 challenge going on in the Discord. So if you want to jump into the Discord, you can do that by looking at my Twitter profile at RetroLogic Games and clicking the link. And then you can try to get 999 coins in Super Mario Land 2 and enter a drawing for a fabulous prize, which I don't have written down. So I'm not going to tell you.
It's $10 credit to a eShop of your choice.
There it is, $10. Get yourself $10. Join the Discord. Go do the thing. Over at FilmLogic, the new episode is about 10 live action movies that need an animated remake. I know they're not going to do this because they're just not going to do it. But an animated Back to the Future would be very interesting to me. I really liked the Telltale games, so I feel like that's the way to go. You're not going to like...
Especially if we get different adventures. Not just repeating of the movie, but like an actual...
Like a serial.
Like further adventures, yeah. There was a cartoon. There was a Back to the Future cartoon for a little bit. I can't say it was great, but it did exist.
Really?
Was it about as good as the Super Nintendo game?
I've never actually played the Super Nintendo game. Wasn't that a Japan only?
It's not very good, yeah.
It's 2 and 3, isn't it?
Well, 2 and 3 came out on the NES here, but there is a Super Nintendo one, but I think it was Japan only.
Yeah, I think that one's Japan only.
Okay. And I think it actually wasn't supposed to be as bad as the NES games we got, but I don't know. Haven't played it.
Well,
Eric would probably know. Eric Plunk is our Back to the Future expert.
A resident Back to the Future guy. Yeah, we'll have to ask him about that. Over at RetroGroove, we've got the season finale coming very soon, where Adam and Liam talk about the best musical duos in history. I think that's pretty cool. And then over at Star Wars Dads, what do we got at Star Wars Dads, Shan? Tell us.
We just recorded episode 2, and so that will be out very shortly. Fantastic. We talk mostly about the Acolyte, which is been kind of a hot topic in Star Wars fandom right now.
Okay, right on. Haven't started it yet. Might not, because apparently it's very controversial. Maybe that's a reason to start. I can form my own opinion. Screw the haters.
Go. That's right.
On that note, speaking of screwing the haters, let's play The Price is Retro. If this is your first time playing The Price is Retro, here's how we play. I'm going to list off 4 or 5 games, and everyone has to guess how much the lot is worth in total. Whoever's closest to the actual value wins that round. Everyone has a list, and everyone guesses on each other's lists. And at the end, the player that won the most rounds wins the episode. But watch out for the robot and the ghost and the dinosaur, our rampage crew, who all have different rules and try to mess up our game. Are we using them tonight? John's not here, so I feel like
I've got the spreadsheet. I think we can use it.
I believe in you, Sam. Sam can do it.
Do it.
All right, so there's no John, so we're going to delete him from the roster. Get out of here, John. And let's go with Shannon first this time.
All right. Okay, so I hopefully didn't bend the rules too much. I have 4 games and 1 strategy guide that I'm putting in here.
I'll accept it. Those are on price.
All right. All right. Yes. So after Nintendo's recent Direct, we got more information about the Dragon Quest 1 through 3 remake coming out, and they look great. Looking forward to that, but it's kind of put me in a Dragon Quest state of mind again. So this is a very Dragon Quest heavy list. All right, we ready?
Go for it.
All right. Dragon Warrior 1 and 2, the Game Boy Color, complete in box.
Always with the complete in box.
I mean, I got to make it a little challenging here.
No, you don't.
Next one is the Dragon Warrior 1 and 2 Strategy Guide by Prima.
It's the Game Boy Color Strategy Guide?
The Game Boy Color Strategy Guide, yep.
By Prima? Okay. All right.
Next one is Dragon Warrior 3 for the NES, complete in box, because of course. Dragon Quest 5 for the DS, complete in box. So that's the DS remake.
Okay.
And Dragon Warrior Monsters for Game Boy Color, complete in box.
All right. Dragon Warrior Monsters. Yeah, screw it. Okay. Okay. I've got a number for you. Sam,
All right.
if you're ready.
Yep.
Okay. I'm going to go 800 even.
Okay. And Sam?
800. Oh, well. Might have to... I'll go with what I had before, which was 565.
All right. Well, Dan, wow, you were close. $834.
Ooh.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Dragon Warrior.
I wonder how actually like close I was with each game now, because I could be all over the place.
Dragon Warrior 1 and 2 for the Game Boy Color Complete is 140. Dragon Warrior 1 and 2, the strategy guide is $92.
Oh my gosh.
That says for the loose. I don't know. They give like loose and complete in box. I don't know what a complete in box strategy guide would be compared to.
Usually they're just in like plastic wrap.
Well,
right.
sometimes
So
that's really,
I just did the
really
loose
tricky
price
because it goes by what you put it on on eBay. Like, were the prices different or were they kind of close for?
Oh no! Well, I think the loose one is the one I did. That was 92. The complete in box one was like 150 something or something like that. So there was a difference.
Sometimes if there's like a poster or stickers or something inserted, they'll put loose for like that's in bad condition and there's no poster, and then complete in box for whatever else.
Makes sense.
Like Nintendo Power is really tricky like that too, because like they're on price charting.
Yeah.
But there's no complete in box Nintendo Power. It's just
right. But people do care. Like if you separated the poster, put it on your wall.
Yeah, big time.
Didn't sell it with the Okay.
All right, Dragon Warrior 3 for the NES complete is $265. Something unfortunately I'll probably never get to own.
I was high on that one. I thought it was higher than that.
Dragon Quest 5 for the DS complete is $187. I am so glad I bought that when it came out new.
That's crazy, man.
Originally. Yep. And Dragon Warrior Monsters for Game Boy Color complete is $150.
Sweet. Yeah, I was a little all over the place, but it evened out.
Yeah, you got it.
All right, right on. Sam, you want to go next?
Sure. I'll give mine next. I just have a list of falling block puzzle games. None of them are Tetris though. So condition varies. So just pay attention, I guess. First up, we have Baku Baku for the Sega Saturn, complete in box.
What is that? Whatever.
I'm told that it is like an onomatopoeia for chomp.
Okay.
So
like
chomp
Pac-Man.
chomp.
Paku Paku.
Yeah. Baku Baku with a B.
Whatever.
Tumblestone for the PS4, complete in box.
Oh.
Rampage Puzzle Attack for the Game Boy Advance, loose.
Interesting.
I see that one quite often.
Puyo Pop for the Neo Geo Pocket Color, also loose.
Puyo Pop for the Neo Geo Pocket Color. Okay.
Dan already guessed first last time, so Shannon, your first guess.
Well, I've been low lately, but I'm going to go with my gut here and say 185.
185, all right.
All right. I had a 200. So somewhere in the same vicinity.
Yeah. The Sega Saturn one is...
I know, yeah. Those are always crazy.
It could be anywhere.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Well, Shannon... actually, I have to check the dyno.
No.
Let me see.
Check the dyno.
I'm not entirely sure how this one's set up, but...
We can skip the...
see. So we have Neo Geo 1, Game Boy Advance 1, PlayStation 4 1, Saturn 1.
He's on pins and needles waiting.
I know. Bated breath
Sorry,
over
I'm
here.
not used to doing. Wait, where's
The
do
thing
we
about
have
Saturn
on
games,
this?
the thing about Saturn games is the most innocuous sounding Saturn game, like sports game or puzzle game or something dumb,
Oh, there it is.
can be like $2,000, and you just don't know.
Right.
You don't know.
Right.
You know, it's crazy.
Yep.
Panzer Dragoon Saga. When are they going to re-release like working design?
No.
games?
Okay. Shannon has it. The total is 159.23.
Oh yeah, that's you.
All right.
All right.
So the breakdown: Baku for the Saturn, $30.
Ugh.
Tumblestone for the PS4, $10.27.
That's
Rampage Puzzle Attack for the GBA, $8.97, and Puyo Pop for the Neo Geo Pocket Color, $109.99.
No, I was not even.
Okay.
I had the high low and the low high on this one.
I kind of switched the first one and the last one around a little bit, but that Rampage puzzle game, I see that all the time at my local, and I don't know why.
As a rule, puzzle games tend not to be expensive.
No,
but
I really should get around to just picking it up.
Sounds fun.
They want a little bit more than that 10. I think they've
just
had like
so weird of all the
18
things
on
to
it
do
or
like a
something.
Rampage spin-off. They're like, yeah, let's just do like a puzzle game.
right.
I want a Rampage kart racer. With like,
But that's what you did back then. Like
Giant
everybody
car.
had like a puzzle spin-off.
I want
you
giant cars in a city and you're smashing into them. That's what I want.
that sounds a lot of fun, actually.
Yeah. Let's get it. Let's get an indie dev on that.
That's right.
All right, my list. Let's go. So I did other gaming dynamic duos in gaming featured here on my list. So here we go. We've got Jack and Daxter, the Precursor Legacy, which I actually just started for the first time recently since I'm now a proud PlayStation 2 owner. Thanks to Dre in the Discord for selling it to me for a very good price with Jack and Daxter. Can't wait to go to Classic Game Fest in a couple weeks and load up. Anywho, there's my anecdote. And the second game is Whiplash on the Xbox. How many of you out there are familiar with Whiplash?
I have not.
It's like a rabbit
heard of
and
that.
it's a rabbit and a weasel, and they're stuck together somehow, like they're chained together.
Oh, I have seen this.
And you like
Yeah.
fling them around, and it's crazy. It's awful, and it's super fun.
That was original Xbox.
Original Xbox, complete in box. Do I still have my copy? No. No, it's gone, but it's cheap. Oh shoot! I just gave
Okay.
away.
Mhm.
Well, I wrote down cheap price.
Dang
anyway,
it, Dan!
so
Don't
we're
talk
good.
about the games until it's done. All right, number 3, Joe and Mac on NES.
Complete or loose.
Oh, loose. Sorry,
That's all right.
I don't complete and box everything like you shmups. Not schmucks, shmups. And then finally, Pocky and Rocky 2 for the Super Nintendo, loose. Loosey goosey. And I think Sam is first.
Yeah, I'm
Yeah.
first. Okay, I got 359.
Okay.
Right, and I have 275.
All right. Well, between you two, the winner is Sam because the total is 464.75. Yeah.
I bet you it was that stupid last one, wasn't it?
It's Pocky
Indeed.
and Rocky for
Indeed
sure.
it
I
was
know-
Pocky and Rocky 2.
It's
I
just
knew
how
it was
expensive is
expensive.
Pocky and Rocky.
I knew it was
Yeah.
expensive,
Yep.
and that's why I upped it, but I didn't up it enough, obviously.
I would venture to say that, by a wide majority, this total is Pocky and Rocky 2, which goes for $418.85. Loose.
Yeah.
Would you like
It
to
was
know?
like $200 off on it.
Would you like to know the complete in box price? You want to throw up in your mouth a little bit? The cardboard is worth more than the plastic. Over $1,000 for the complete in box Pocky and Rocky 2. Anyway,
Another
what was
game
the
I will never
total?
own.
my total was $464.71.
464.
To run through the rest of the games, we've got Jack and Daxter complete in box is 14, Whiplash for Xbox complete in box is 15, Joe and Mac for the NES loose is 1686, and again Pocky and Rocky is 418.85. Bananas.
I had the first three.
Well, guys, we have a 3-way tie.
You had the closest guess on the first lot,
That's
being
true.
off by only $34. So,
Rock and roll.
You take the game.
Yay! All right. Sweet. That's how the game is played, ladies and gentlemen. Price is Retro. If you want to submit a list of games for us to guess on the show, you can do that in Discord. Simply send me or John a DM, and we will give you instructions. Don't just send us a list. We've got to keep it fair, so we'll send you instructions on how to spoiler tag everything in the chat, and then it's on the honor system that we're not going to cheat and look at it before the show. You just have to trust us. But that's tons of fun. We've had Mikey send us a lot of lists, and Philip send us a lot of lists, and I want to get more lists. Let's get more community lists in here, so we'll bring that back.
Yes.
Shannon, do we have a trivia card that we're going to groan
We
at?
do. Let's see here. We got 2 new questions.
Yes.
Which hip-hop group were the subject of a 4-player fighting game released by PlayStation in 1999?
Wu-Tang?
That's correct.
Yes.
Nice.
What was the game called?
Yes. Looks like Wu-Tang Shaolin style. I'm probably butchering that.
Yeah.
Shaolin.
Man, that's like a distant, weird memory floating around in my head that there was a Wu-Tang fighting game.
Well done. All right. And which console was the first to have an internal memory storage?
Xbox. Right, Sam?
Internal memory? Like as opposed to...
Storage.
Yeah, that would be Xbox.
Has to be
right?
Xbox.
Actually, Sega Saturn.
Oh.
What?
According to the card, anyway.
Huh.
Yeah.
Well, everybody at home.
I would have gone with Xbox, too.
Everybody at home was yelling at us.
Probably.
It's Sega Saturn. All right. Well, on that note, now that we know nothing about Sega Saturn, let's jump over to our show topic, which today we're going to run down a little bit of history of the Mario and Luigi RPG games. Not Paper Mario, not Mario RPG, Mario and Luigi. So stay tuned, and we'll be back in a bit. Welcome back. We're talking Mario and Luigi because Nintendo decided to bring that series back. Thank God. Like, they could have killed it off, and nobody would have blamed them, but they didn't. They said no. We want brothership, and we're all glad. We're all glad for it. It was announced during the June 18th Nintendo Direct, and so today we're talking about the Mario and Luigi games. Just briefly, what's everybody's history with these games? Where did you start? What are your favorites? What haven't you played? Sam, why don't you go first? You have a history with this game.
Yeah,
series.
so I've played the 2 games in the series that I think are widely considered the best, which is the first game, Superstar Saga, on the Game Boy Advance, as well as Bowser's Inside Story on the DS. I never really made a point to pick up the others, I guess because I'd always heard, like, you've already played the best 2, like, it's all downhill from here. So that kind of kept me off of them.
I'm curious of that because Partners in Time is highly regarded.
Is it?
Yeah.
Yes.
That's interesting.
That makes sense, though, because that's, that's before they kind of...
Yeah.
I think by like Paper Jam is when I heard, you know,
started
it was just running out of steam.
Yeah, I've heard Bowser's Inside Story is the last like great one.
Mm-hmm.
Admittedly, I stopped at Partners in Time. Like I haven't played anything past that. I don't know. I just don't know what I was doing, but I didn't play Mario and Luigi. But I loved the first two, so I don't know what to. I don't know.
It's long been kind of not entirely on my radar. It's one of those things, and to an extent, this is kind of how the Mario franchise has been for me. Like, I've never been somebody who's like waiting on every new Mario game, but every game I play is usually really good. Like, I enjoy it. Yeah. It's just there are so many that like it's easy to pass on a few, you know. And so that was even the case with the first game. Like, I wasn't really thinking about it, looking forward to it. I didn't ask for it, but then I just received it as a Christmas gift, and I was like, "Oh, this is really good. I'm glad I got this."
Yeah, yeah. The first one is pure magic. I mean, it had like heavy involvement from Miyamoto and Satoru Iwata. Like it was a Nintendo, essentially a Nintendo first party like produced game from that perspective. So it's no wonder that one was a banger. And I was always into Mario's adventures in RPG land, like starting with Mario RPG, which is one of my very first RPGs I ever played. I was hyped for Mario RPG 2, which turned into Paper Mario, and so I bought that and loved that. Thousand Year Door. I played Super Paper Mario, even though that's not strictly an RPG. It's much more action-oriented, platformy. But when I heard Superstar Saga was an RPG, I was like, oh, we're getting another kind of thing with Mario in an RPG. Awesome, let's do that. And the funny thing is, like, I wasn't necessarily into RPGs as a whole. Like, I didn't play Final Fantasy 2 or 3 on the Super Nintendo, or like any of the other bigger RPGs. Like I dabbled in Final Fantasy 7 when we had a PlayStation. But I played a crap load of Pokemon, and I played all the Mario RPGs. And I think I was at that age where I didn't want the like huge grandiose, like very adult stories in my video games. I just wanted like to have fun. And that was the primary focus of those games. Like it was kind of an RPG second, and like a Mario universe building game first. So I definitely attached myself to those kinds of RPGs. And Mario and Luigi is no different. Like it has its own sort of flavor on it, but it's every bit as good and fun as the original Mario RPG and the Paper Mario series, at least at the beginning of the franchise. So first two games, Superstar Saga, Partners in Time, is where I really dug in. And I may have dabbled in Bowser's Inside Story and Dream Team, but I just have such vague memories of it that I wouldn't feel confident talking about them here. So, Shannon, what about you?
I'm pretty sure I first heard about it or saw it in Nintendo Power, and I was like, oh, awesome, another Mario RPG. Great, I'm on it. I love RPGs, and the Paper Marios and Super Mario RPG were just like, top tier. I loved them. So I picked up the first one, Superstar Saga, and just really loved it. Loved the villains. Fawful especially, of course, was really great. And so then I picked up and played through Superstar Saga, Partners in Time, Bowser's Inside Story, and Dream Team. I have Paper Jam, and I got about 15 minutes into it is all. And it didn't have anything to do with the game. I have no idea what drew me away, and I never got around to going back. I liked the idea, even though I thought it was kind of weird, of the Paper Mario game that, I had liked, being some kind of like multiversal connection to the the Mario and Luigi games. So I was definitely interested to see what they did with that. But so unfortunately, though, other than that first little bit, I did not get very far. Um, I definitely think that the quality after Bowser's Inside Story, Dream Team, I thought was okay. Um, I feel like they kind of, though, got a little bit stale because it was always like, oh, at the end, it's always like, well, somehow Bowser's going to be involved. And sometimes I'm like, man, just stand up for the villains that you were, original villains that were so good. But Bowser's Inside Story, the way they made use of Bowser there was actually really creative and really well done. So while they did some cool stuff in Dream Team, it fell a little flat. And then, like I said, I just got pulled away by something else for a Paper Jam and unfortunately never went back. I did not pick up the re-releases of the Superstar Saga and Bowser's Inside Story that they re-released on 3DS with added content. So I can't really speak to those. I think one of the things that I really did like was that this kind of felt like the Looney Tunes of the Mario Land, whatever you want to say.
That's a good way
Mario
of putting
World.
it.
Yeah, because you're smacking each other with hammer, popping down your partner down to the ground and just doing all these weird things.
And they really seem to, at least with what we saw from the Brothership trailer, they really leaned hard into that. Which is good because we got tons of especially with how the Switch sort of quietly became a Mario RPG behemoth. It's got Mario RPG remake. It's got 2 Paper Mario games, and now we have a Mario and Luigi game coming back. They really sort of seemed like they honed the DNA of Mario and Luigi in the way you're describing, like a cartoon character, right? Which is very different from the other two. Like Mario RPG is very Square Enix, straightforward RPG, as close as a straightforward RPG as Mario got. Paper Mario has its own DNA, right? As basically almost a mini game collection. Every battle is a series of mini games, and that's how that
especially as you go forward.
Yeah, and then you have all the personality with your companions. For sure, especially as you go forward. And Mario and Luigi being a little bit more straightforward, but really leaning on the interaction between the brothers. So it's kind of a good halfway point between the Paper Mario and the Square style, where you have sort of a mini game based battle system, but it's a lot more straightforward as far as attack selection and things of that nature. That being said, let's do a little bit of developer history stuff, and then we'll go through chronologically each game and just kind of talk a bit about them as much as we can with our personal experiences. Starting with the developer of the first Mario and Luigi game, being a fledgling RPG house in Alpha Dream. Before they did Mario and Luigi, they made the Japanese-only Koto Battle Tengai no Moribito, which I've never heard of or played. Anybody know anything about that?
Nope.
Nada. It looks
No idea.
looks like a Pokemon clone from the little bit I saw of it. And then they made a game called Tomato Adventure for the Game Boy Advance, also Japan only. This one seems like something I want to look more into because the little bit that I looked into it had a little bit of that Mario and Luigi flavor, where you can read my description here. Tomato Adventure, the player as Demilly, a tomato hater in the Ketchup Kingdom, fights his way from his outcast village to rescue his girlfriend. The in-game weapons are toy-like, and the battles against opponents involve mini-games. Some consider it to be a spiritual successor to Mario and Luigi. Very much sounds like it with the mini-game battle system. So that seems like a game that I'd want to actually check out, because it sounds absurd.
That sounds a lot of fun.
Yeah.
I wonder how much Japanese you would really need to be able to read.
Yeah. Sam, you might have to do a.
Oh, I bet there's a translation patch for it.
That's true.
Especially as popular as Mario and Luigi are, I'm sure that this goes back and hits some strings with some Mario and Luigi fans. I'm gonna try to not butcher some Japanese names right now, so bear with me. Tetsuo Mitsuno, who was Square's second president, and Fujioka, okay, and Yoshihiko Mayakawa. I think I did okay.
There is, in fact, romhacking.net has a translation patch for Tomato Adventure, fully playable as
there we go.
2021.
Uh-oh, Sam. You might be on eBay getting a cartridge.
Yeah, who knows? You just,
in your Game Boy.
Fire up the GB operator, dump that ROM, patch it.
I
and go.
expect a full review on.
I can play it on the Pocket.
Yeah. Anyway, the gentlemen that I just mentioned, they were the director. They were game directors at Square, and the name Alpha Dream actually comes from a play on words of Final Fantasy, because they came from Square and they were like, "Oh, we're not Final Fantasy, we're Alpha Dream." Alpha Dream was also notable for being the developers of 4 games in the Hamtaro license, creating several games using the IP, specifically the later games in the series, Rainbow Rescue and the Ham games, both of which feature mini-games that serve as a prototype for those featured in the Mario & Luigi series. So there's a rich history here with Alpha Dream and mini-game-based battle systems of that nature.
They'd even kind of shifted the Hamtaro games, from my understanding. They changed the emphasis to mini games, because the prior games in that series were more kind of adventure game based. Those are the ones I've actually played. Not as heavy on the mini games, which those games, for licensed games, are incredibly good, and I think actually surprisingly important piece of Nintendo history. They were published directly by Nintendo, and heavily influenced the Tomodachi Life game. Later have been cited as that. And I also can't help but think of Pikmin when I'm playing them, just because the playing as hamsters. But there's a lot of environments that are, small scale, like household objects. Like you see, you see small things up close, and it reminds me. I can't help but wonder if it started to influence, because I think Miyamoto had some involvement with the first one. If it started to make him think of Pikmin, awesome. Even that early.
I love that.
But yeah.
And unfortunately, on October 1st, 2019, Alpha Dream declared bankruptcy, citing sluggish revenues, high development costs, and being unable to keep up with growing debt. Many of the staff were scooped up by Monolith Soft, ILCA, who did the Shining Diamond, Brilliant Diamonds, Shining Pearl remakes, and who are rumored to be making Brothership. But I've also heard that Monolith is making Brothership, and no, Nintendo isn't telling anybody, so it's all just rumors right now. And also, a lot of the staff went over to Nintendo, so it seems like they were picked up.
I do know that Nintendo, while they won't say who's making it, they're not saying that for any of their games now.
Yeah.
In advance, but they did say that staff from who were involved in making the original games are helping to make this game as well. Right. So,
yeah,
at least there's that.
So it could be.
I think those rumors of either Monolith Soft or the other making it are pretty much rooted in putting those two facts together. It's supposed to have people who worked on the original, and we know some of them went here and there.
Yeah.
Yep.
Well, only time will tell. We are going to just now run down the list of games and kind of just talk briefly about each one. If we have anything to say, we can do that. And then we'll go ahead and wrap things up. So kicking stuff off, the launch of Superstar Saga in 2003 garnered a Metascore critic deservingly of 90 out of 100. This was released for the Game Boy Advance, and it is now playable on Nintendo Switch Online Game Boy Advance app as part of the like expansion pack thing. Yeah, we kind of already talked about it, but yeah, this was the first one I played. I was super excited about it when it came out, and I love it. It's a great game.
I really like the villains in here.
Mm-hmm.
It was different. You were not in the Mushroom Kingdom, you're in the Bean Kingdom, which is kind of fun. And I mean, anything that gets us Fawful. He is one of my, I think, favorite, certainly Mario villains. And he kind
There's a reason they brought him back later for Bowser's Inside Story.
Well, he's also in Partners in Time, but as he's doing something with the beans, like he's actually exchanging the beans with you or something. So he's not in a villain role, but he's just kind of there, like as a cameo kind of a thing.
Mm-hmm.
But yes, he's one of my favorites.
Yeah, couple. Go ahead.
No, I was just gonna say, so I think one of the things this did was introduce, these brother. I'm trying to remember exactly what they're called in game, but you basically have moves. So in the other Mario RPGs, you can do your attacks, but then you can also use your special skills or whatever. But what makes these games a little different is you have brother attacks where you work together to do some kind of special attack, whether or not that's kicking a shell back and forth and then finally kicking it into the enemy. So it's like the action command battles, but kind of magnified a bit.
It seems to be a lot more like it's like it like makes more sense in a Mario world when the brothers team up, and like, oh, here, jump on my back and then jump on his head, so you get more oomph.
Right.
And yeah, the shell back and forth thing. And in just to not to jump the gun, but Partners in Time came out in 2005, launch year of the DS. It's also available on the Wii U. They kind of like doubled you up, so now you have 4 face buttons because it was like A for Mario, B for Luigi, for like the jumping, dodge, and for like different attacks. In Partners in Time, you had Baby Mario and Baby Luigi joining you, and now you have 4 buttons and things to do. So they kind of doubled you up, which added a level.
It's a little hectic.
It's crazy. It added some complexity to it, and I really liked it. I thought it was really interesting, and it really challenged you, especially a lot of the later attacks. And there were times where the babies would jump on their brother's back, and then you would just fight with 2 buttons, and then you could like switch back to 4 depending on what you were doing. I thought it was a really great way to kind of elevate the whole framework of the game, of the series. So I remember having a great time with Partners in Time.
Yes, Partners in Time, the story gets a little weird. I mean, you got time travel, so anytime you do time travel, you're going to get a little weird, but it also gets dark. Like, the humor is still there, but Partners in Time is very, very dark. You lose, like, a lot of the characters in the game get turned into, like, these mushroom spore, like, zombie mushroom things or whatever. And I don't know that you ever see some of them ever transform back. Like it gets pretty dark there in that game. But what they do so well is the writing is just so good that it's still humorous and fun, even as it's dark. And but yes, alien invaders. And again, they do a great job, I think, of creating these villains that are a little bit different. And then, of course, they always bring in Bowser somehow because it's Mario, and they don't want you to forget. Like, oh yeah, wait, we got Bowser, guys. We got Bowser. This is Mario.
Yeah, it's actually kind of strange to think about, but these are some of the only games in all of Mario, really, that we actually see a whole lot of interaction between Mario and Luigi.
Right.
Because I mean,
Yeah.
traditionally in Mario games, Luigi is just your player too. He's Green Mario. He's a substitute,
That's
and
true.
unless you're playing multiplayer, in which case you're both controlled by the player, by different players. Like
Well,
in single player Mario, you rarely actually even see Luigi do anything.
well, and even in
Right.
the other RPGs, like in Paper Mario, he's a side character. He's nowhere to be found.
Yeah.
Like, and then in
Well,
Mario RPG,
he's got his whole like saga in
right,
Thousand Year
right.
Door, but like
His
it's definitely he's off
companions are
doing his
calling
own
him a
thing.
liar. I love that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
This guy's a liar.
But and even in Mario RPG, he's like wholly absent, just like not around.
Yeah.
So like,
Yeah.
I'm glad that they gave the brother his due in this game for sure. 2009, we get this another sequel on the DS, Bowser's Inside Story. Not on Wii U, not on NSO, just DS,
No.
and then on 3DS remake. This was the last. This is considered the last great Mario and Luigi game by some. What are y'all's takes?
I liked it. I think this game in particular folds Bowser in a much more natural way that makes a lot of sense throughout. It doesn't feel forced at all because you spend a lot of the game playing as him. In some ways, you could say it feels a little forced to because at the end you do actually fight Bowser as Mario and Luigi, from what I remember.
Mm-hmm.
Which is like, oh, I thought we were gonna, you spend the whole game sort of kind of working together, although not really. Like Bowser's sort of unaware that the brothers are doing all these things inside him. But I thought it was great.
I mean it brings back Fawful again, so I'm pro that. I think, is this the game that introduced, I know they have it in Dream Team, but does Bowser's Inside Story, it has some of the giant battles too, correct?
Yes.
That's what I thought. So it kind of gets introduced, I think, in this game, Inside Story, and then continues into Dream Team. But where you just, it's kind of hard to explain, but you are, I don't know, it's almost, it's kind of kaiju-ish. You're just these, but I don't know. I'm trying to figure out, and it's been a few years since I played it. But Sam, do you remember anything specific, like how those worked? I'm trying to remember.
They were a little bit different from the standard, but I mean, again, battles as Bowser were different, right?
That's true too.
I mean, they had kind of their own feel, and I think that really helped the game feel fresh too at the time.
Yeah.
Okay, right on.
And I know they continued it into Dream Team, which was the next game.
Yeah, 2013 Dream Team on the 3DS. The first real dip in review scores down to an 81, which still isn't bad.
Which still good.
Yeah, and a lot of people say that Dream Team is just as good as any of the past games too, and I'm inclined to, everybody has their own experiences, so I'm inclined to believe them too.
I haven't played it, so I can't say.
Yeah.
I think the biggest issue I had with Dream Team, and to be honest, it's there in the other ones too, but I feel like Dream Team, if I remember correctly, was like overly obnoxious in the tutorials, the constant popping up with slow tutorials that you couldn't skip and had to do. It's like, hey, let's learn how to equip these badges, or let's learn how to do this battle or this kind of battle, or because again, just like in Bowser's Inside Story, there are different kinds of battles in Dream Team. You have just the regular ones, and then you have, like, when Luigi is sleeping, he has dream battles, where you can use like Dream Luigi to help Mario, and then there'd be like battles where you would have like something like 100 different Luigis helping you, Dream Luigis helping you, and then they'd form like a giant hammer out of Luigi's, and
oh my gosh,
just zany, crazy things like that. And then they also had the giant battles again as well, to kind of get through some of the areas. But yeah, there was lots of tutorials. Even later in the game, I felt like, hey, here's a new tutorial, and you're like, really? Let me just try to figure it out, and then be like, or just say, would you like to learn about how to do this? Yes or no? It's that simple, Nintendo.
Yeah. Yeah. Don't Skyward Sword
But
me.
right, exactly.
I do still think Dream Team would have been the perfect time to bring back Wart. I'm just saying.
Yes.
Missed opportunity.
Yes.
Snap.
Yes.
No spoilers though.
Yes.
About Wart.
Because Dream Team does also suffer a little bit from a villain. They had a cool villain, this like bat-looking type creature guy, and it was really great. And then it's like, oh, yep, hey, don't forget we have Bowser, and Bowser's to betray the other guy, and now all of a sudden Bowser's the bad guy and gonna kidnap Peach, and it's like, really. Really? You had to go there.
Every time.
Every time. It's like, don't forget, this is a Mario game, so we got to have Bowser. But yeah, Wart that would have been great.
That's a great idea to bring in Wart. So Mario & Luigi Paper Jam 2013, released on 3DS, developed by Alpha Dream, not by Intelligent Systems, who does the Paper Mario games. Kind of a crossover.
Yes.
So
supposedly there's a lot of paper toads.
I don't
like
have
a
any...
lot of
right.
The way it's presented is definitely a Mario and Luigi game with Paper Mario in it.
Yeah.
Not the other way around.
Right.
Yep. And I think that some people were probably hoping that it would maybe lean towards more with the Paper Mario. Because by this time Paper Mario was already changing quite a bit from its original design of those first two games.
If we can't have Paper Mario RPGs, then at least let this be a substitute.
Yeah, it had been a while at this point. It had been a while at this point for Paper Marios, because, gosh, when was Color Splash?
Yeah,
Color Splash is after this. Color Splash is like 2016, I want to say.
Okay. Yeah, that's probably about right, because it was on the Wii. Yep. So it was around this time, and so yeah, before that was Super Paper Mario, which
Sticker Star.
Sticker Star. Oh yeah,
which is
Sticker Star,
pretty widely considered the low point of Paper Mario. Yeah. Even if you're fine with the new direction, nobody really
Sticker
likes
Star was
Sticker
Star was 2012, which is right after Dream Team, or right before Dream Team. I forgot about Sticker Star. Yeah, and then Color Splash comes out the year after Paper Jam. So definitely the dark ages of Paper Mario. If that's your
a traditionalist,
yeah, or whatever.
Well, at this point, I mean, this is the lowest critical scores for Mario and Luigi to Paper Jam. So it's the low point for both. It's the low point for Mario RPGs as a whole.
But even the low point of Mario and Luigi in Paper Jam is a 76 out of 100. It's generally favorably good. I don't know enough to know what the actual issues fans had with the game is. Maybe it was expectations, but I've also heard people say it's a good game. It's just that it wasn't as good as the past Mario and Luigi's. So after Paper Jam we had two re-release remakes. We got Mario and Luigi Superstar Saga plus Bowser's Minions in 2017 on the 3DS. And Mario & Luigi Bowser's Inside Story plus Bowser Jr.'s Journey in 2018. Also 3DS. They decided to skip Partners in Time. Why? I like Partners in Time.
Yeah, I don't know. Maybe they didn't think they had a side story that could go with it. Or maybe they just wanted to go and try to recapture the ones people liked the most. I'm not sure.
I don't know. Partners in Time was the only one on Wii U. So maybe they were like, oh, go play it on Wii U. even though the Switch is out at this point. I don't know.
True.
I wonder what would have been different if Bowser's Inside Story plus Bowser Jr.'s Journey was a Switch game. I wonder. I don't know how
That could have been interesting.
I don't know how much Bowser's Inside Story relies on the dual
I mean,
screen.
it's not like the 3DS didn't have much of an install base.
I guess so.
You know how I am about remakes, though. Like, the fact that this is... I know there's additional content, but still, the fact that this is a remake of a DS game on 3DS...
Which would have played on the
3DSs
DS.
can play DS games. Like, you're technically still competing with the same game.
Yeah,
for my attention or for what I'm going to play.
Bowser's Inside Story definitely is something that needs the touch screen. So I don't know how easily it would be.
Which has a touch screen.
Yes, Switch does have a touch screen. So, but they haven't released any straight up DS.
I'm trying to remember. Did that use like the mic and stuff too?
Oh, that might have been a point where they can't.
I don't recall using the mic on.
Switch doesn't have a mic. They would have
been a long time since
they would have had to include a dongle for the headphone jack. It was like, here, it's a Switch mic.
We could have gotten it just like
we could have gotten that mic. If you're gonna remake it, you can always just have that be a different input or something.
Also compatible with Wii Speak.
I feel like there was at least some point in the game you had to blow into the mic or something.
It's possible. They did like to do that kind of stuff at that time. Yeah. Now we could all have another reason to get out our GameCube adapters so we could get out the GameCube microphone and we could have attached it to our Switches.
There you go.
All right. Well, that's the end of the chronology of Mario and Luigi until Brothership comes out on September. Is that September? It's not too
pretty
far
close
away.
here.
Yeah. Brothership release date November 7th.
Oh, November
2024. So coming
Still
up
close.
Coming up hot. I'm definitely picking it up. And I might try to go back and pick up Superstar Saga is the only one I own currently, so I might try to go back and pick up some of these older ones if they're not too pricey. I don't think they are. They sold pretty well, so should be good out there. Wrapping things up on the community couch, we reached out to you, dear listener, and we wanted to know your experience with the Mario and Luigi franchise. Got a couple responses we're going to read off here, and then we'll wrap things up. We've got Just Being Bruce, who says, "Oh, sorry guys, I can't leave any messages for you about that because I'm concentrating on the Oilers winning all the way."
I don't even know who they're playing. That's kind of sad. I knew they were in there for Bruce. He's been talking a lot about it, but I'm not sure who they're playing.
I don't have a dog in this fight, so go Oilers for all I care.
There you go. Sounds good.
Philip comes in and says, "The Mario and Luigi games are my childhood Mario RPGs. I had Partners in Time and Bowser's Inside Story as a kid. I view the series as an underrated classic. I own and have played the core 4 games, but only beat Partners in Time and Bowser's Inside Story. I almost got to the end of Superstar Saga, though I haven't played Paper Jam. I think my favorite is absolutely Bowser's Inside Story." Yeah, I think you share that sentiment, Shannon. That seems to be high on your list.
I say that one, or Superstar Saga though.
It's just so good.
That first one is just perfect.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah.
And then Eric coming in at the end with, "I've only dabbled in the series, but I have played enough of them to enjoy the comedic charm. Superstar Saga has a special place in my heart because it was the last Christmas gift I got from my grandmother before she passed." Dang.
Wow.
Yeah. The
That's
last
special
gift my grandmother got me before she passed was a Nerf gun. And I still have it. So I understand, Eric. That's going to wrap up our community couch, and that's going to wrap up this episode about Mario and Luigi. Guys, any final thoughts? Any last words? So like Threatening.
Just if you have the Nintendo Switch Online expansion and you haven't played a Mario RPG and you're just kind of wondering, the Superstar Saga is right there. It plays great on the Switch, so try it out. Let us know what you think.
Yeah, it's so good. Everybody needs to play that game. If you are a Nintendo fan in the slightest, you should play that game. If you're an RPG fan, you should play that game. It turns the whole genre on its head. It's wonderful.
Yep.
I always liked how instead of a luck stat, it's stash. And that Luigi has higher stash than Mario. We all know, and this game codifies it, Luigi has the better mustache.
It's scientific.
Couldn't agree more. Well, good. All right. Well, thanks for listening to the RetroLogic podcast. We are proudly part of the Nintendo Dads family of podcasts. If you like what you hear, check me out on Twitter at RetroLogic Games. You're also welcome to jump into our friendly and 100% non-toxic Discord community. The link to that is in my Twitter bio. You can find everything on our website, retrologic.games. Thanks for listening, and we'll see y'all in a couple weeks with a new show topic, and hopefully a John, if he's not electrocuted or in jail for being too handsy.